Thank you to RSF1090 for their generous donation on Patreon. If you would like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. Hello everyone, my name is Decker Link, the trained professional, and welcome back to the Smoke Room! Echo prequel. La-de-doo. I am so behind on updates because I fucking was injured and but we're back! So, this is the Nick update, right after we are in here and we fucking go, we confessed to Nick, and now immediately William's at our fucking door like, hey! So let's see what he wants. Takes everything in me not to look to the right where Nick just stays frozen up against the wall. Nick is putting me in a pretty bad situation right now. I could just lie, and it would be pretty dang obvious what's going on if I don't let William in. I usually let him in no problem. But I can tell that Nick is pretty horrified of being caught with his pants all the way off. I don't want to lie to William. He doesn't like being lied to, and I can only imagine it would be worse if I'm caught in such an obvious one. So, I do the only thing I can think to, which is absolutely nothing. I just stand there, frowning at the floor while my brain just grinds to a halt, kind of like it did last night. I'm starting to wonder if I don't think as well on my feet as I always thought. Sam? William looks concerned, confused, then annoyed. Christ, Sam, is he really? Nick finally brings our pointless shifting around to an end, thank God, as he steps out from against the wall. Thank you to Paul Diggs, dev of Wolfstar Sins of Paradise, for this, the banner of censorship. Good morning, William. William only pauses for less than a second before continuing on like nothing had happened. Oh, there you are, Nick. Good morning. Then there's another few seconds of quiet, as I think all of us are just really conscious of Nick's prick hanging out. Seeing another man naked isn't exactly out of the ordinary, depending on where you're at, especially in the brothel, but because it's right here, in the brothel's smoke room, well, we're all a little embarrassed about it, even if we're all a part of it. Nick clears his throat. Yes, I did not want you to have to see my bare fur. So I thought I should hide myself, but I realized it was causing more trouble than... No problem, Nick. Why don't you put your pants on in the meantime so you can get more comfortable? I want to have a few words with the two of you. Yes, of course. Nick looks around, seeing his crumpled up trousers on the floor, then hurries over to them, one giant paw trying to cover up his privates. He has to let go of them when he's stumbling back into his pants, and they sort of flop around between his legs, William glancing only for a moment before fixing his eyes on me. I really am sorry to interrupt your business, Sam, but this concerns both of you, and I doubt I'll get you two together again anytime soon. My brain is catching up to the situation finally, and that horrible pit of dread starts making its home in my guts again, reminding me of just how far away I am from being free of it. What about? I'm at least more calm than I had been when Nick confronted me last night. Actually, I feel a lot better than I think I should. And I start to wonder if maybe that's because Nick is kind of sharing this with me now. A burden to share. Okay, he's got his pants on so I can take off the banner. I put on my trousers. I can see that. Starting to feel fidgety with all this small talk. William made this sound important, but he sure's taking his sweet time to get to the point. So, I'm going to ask a few questions, and might seem a bit tough, if you think you can handle that. He's looking right at me. I look right at Nick, but he looks to the floor. Did he tell William something already? Sam. Get my eyes back over to him quick, trying to sit on the bed in a way that doesn't show how I feel inside right now. You remember when you got yourself hurt a month back or so? Suddenly, that joined feeling I had had with Nick just dissolves away. Still, I'm holding on to some kind of hope that who I thought was my friend isn't turning me in right now. I would have woken up if he had left the room, I think. maybe so. Memory's fuzzy, having my brain shook up like that.
Well, think you can recall where it might have happened. I know you weren't sure last time. Maybe something jogged your memory.
Put on a show of thinking about it hard. But then I shrug. William sighs deeply, looking over to Nick.
Nick, can you tell Sam where you saw him coming from after he was mugged?
I look back at Nick, wondering if my feeling of deep betrayal is showing in my eyes. It must, because he looks away again as soon as I do.
Nick.
Now Nick is the one to let out a real big sigh.
I saw you heading west up the main street as I was walking to work.
I nod as if this isn't implicating me in anything. Alright. Maybe one of the miners could have attacked me? I try not to wince when I remember that Jack was a miner. At least for a little bit. Who did it? Who did it? The two of them just let the silence drag on, and I almost have to laugh at how absolutely dumb this is. The one man in this town that I didn't want to find out about this is doing just that. The more I talk and fidget and act like I'm not completely guilty. William sees right through it. It's his job to do that.
Listen, Sam, we're not accusing you of anything. I just want to know what you might know.
I just really don't remember, William.
Listen, Sam. I know you've been mugged before. It happens when you're out messing around before the crack of dawn. But maybe it's something worth looking into if it happened the same night. I just remembered an important detail, William.
Nick steps in just as William's starting to interrogate me for real.
Oh? And what might that be? Well, I just remembered that the point where I came across Sam was further in town, amongst the first businesses on Main Street. What? Weren't you traveling straight from the bunkhouse to the mine? That's my usual route, but I had to head into town to... Well, this is embarrassing to admit, but I sometimes search the streets for disposed newspapers. I'm short on money, and I like to know what might be happening back east where my family live. Not to mention what might be happening to family in my home country as well.
Oh boy. He looks upsetty spaghetti. What the fuck is with this reaction? Thumbnail.
Wait, what? Good God, I don't know what you two are up to right now. But what I don't need is for you to waste my time. If you're going to report something, keep it accurate. And if you don't want me to find out, then don't tell me at all. I'll figure it out on my own. William, it was months ago. My memory is also fuzzy. Fantastic. Why don't you come to my office if it clears up? In the meantime, I'll be keeping this in mind. Getting yourself involved in this murder is the last thing you or I want. Be careful from here on out.
Oh, fuck. William slams the door, leaving us both in a stunned silence. I stare at the door, then over at Nick. Nick, why the hell did you do that?
Well, you know I had suspicions earlier.
You could have warned me. I kept saying I didn't want William to know. I make an effort to lower my voice.
Well, I was a bit late by then. I told him before I met you last night. Weren't you worried about what he might do to me, though? William's a good man, and I know I could trust him, and I know you well enough to know that Jack was the troublemaker in this situation.
Troublemaker sounds like a mighty light word for what he did. But then you ended up interrogating me harder than even William did just now.
I had to get the truth from you quickly. We are now in a better position.
Except for with William, you saw how mad he was.
Well, yes, that was my fault.
You walked back what you said.
You looked distressed. I wanted to help you.
Yeah, well, you might as well have never told William in the first place. Now he's really suspicious. About the two of us.
Yes, this is a bad situation. I did not expect him to show himself here, in your room.
It happens.
Often?
Often enough. Nick stands there looking around.
Well, I am late for work. I think I'll go into the back entrance to get your coins today during my lunch, if they're still there.
Wait, really?
Of course. I assume it took you quite long to save up double eagles.
You did. Better part of 2 years. How do you know where it is?
Well, I helped move the body, so I know where it happened.
It's quiet again, and the badger stoops to grab up his shirt.
I'll come by again tonight, between your appointments.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
No thanks needed. I'll see you tonight.
I stay sat on the bed, and as I stare at the floor. It's not often someone does something nice for me without expecting something else in return. Cynthia does, but that's about it. I feel the warm feeling for Nick come back in my chest, and I feel myself smiling a little. I guess he was only looking out for me by telling William what he did. Even if we kind of ruined it, convincing William right off the bat would have been good. Maybe I should come clean with the coyote. That'd be half my worries gone if he believed me. But that's an if that I'm not really ready to take the chances on right at this minute. I need a break from all this confessing. I sigh, wondering if maybe I should have told Nick exactly where I dropped the coins. I don't like this. I don't like the idea of him fumbling around where... Oh, Nick will be okay. Whatever happened in there, it was after me, and me alone, for killing man. Killing man! I get twists as I remind myself. Not only that I'm probably going to hell now, but because I remember the sounds and that thing. It happened right after I killed Jack, so it only makes sense that it's only haunting me. But what if it isn't? What if it's still in there waiting for the next person? Oh, no, that was the devil. What if it wasn't? Well, it has to be. Because if it isn't, then I can't explain it at all. I imagine Nick feeling around in the dirt for the coin, some undefinable shape coming up behind him to smother and pierce him. Shit. My heart seems to plummet into my ass, making me squirm and dig my claws in my arms. I can't let him go in there alone. Even if he moved the body, he was with people then. What if he's alone? I gotta stop him. Either I go in there with him, or I warn him and make him realize I'm crazier than he already thinks. Well, double eagles aren't worth Nick getting hurt in there, or worse. I mean, they're worth a good amount. Hell, I might still go in there for them, but I'm just not gonna let Nick go in blind. With that settled in my head, I keep sitting there. It's too early to get up and run errands that I usually have from Madame Dora. So maybe I'll get a little more shut-eye while I can. When I think about that, Jack's face just appears in my mind. My eyes open, he stares his eyes open, stares back at me. Couldn't even do him the courtesy of closing his eyes and letting him rest forever. I frown at myself, wondering why the hell I'm thinking that right now. Then I get this stupid, awful feeling creeping up my neck again, like something is in here with me. I rub my neck, looking back at the wall. You know what? I should read the Bible for now. I slide off my bed, trying not to think about how it's light out and I'm still scared. It's a bad sign, because how the hell am I going to handle the night? I open a little wooden compartment on my vanity, seeing the worn leather spine of the Bible that was there when I first started working here. I breathe a big sigh of relief. But relief doesn't come. Instead, the tickling waves of my first standing on end keep going up my spine and neck. Finally, I feel exactly where the presence is coming from. I look up and see red eyes stare back at... Gah! I jump from seeing my own goddamn reflection. I stare at myself. A look that I can't believe what just happened is on my face. Then I laugh, in a loud, hollow sort of way, because it should be funny. But it isn't at all. Holy shit. Holy shit, I might actually be going crazy. Fuck, I need to get out of here. Quickly snap shut the chest, hiding the Bible from sight, saying a quick sorry to God for cursing in front of the holy book. Then, I'm getting dressed as quick as I can. All the while, I don't look over at the vanity. Even though I know this is all nonsense, I still can't help but feel like that. Even though I know this is all nonsense, I still can't help but feel like that isn't me looking back. There's something else. I'm happy to leave the room behind for now, happy to not dwell on the idea that something might have followed me home. The saloon is quiet, bright with the sunrise coming in through the windows. Most everyone else is asleep. They were probably up way later than me. I go out the back because it's the most important part of me keeping my work private. If no one sees me leave the place, then most just assume I'm some vagrant with weird fur. Of course, unlike the girls, my clients have to find me, so there's a certain level of me being in the know that I'm comfortable with, and I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm feeling better already, feeling the warmth of the sun soak into my fur, listening to the townsfolk slowly wake up and bring the street around me to life. Seems loony that I felt the way I did in my bedroom, just needed to get out. There's a real bounce in my step when the door opens in front of me, and of all people, that weasel pops out. It's like he shoved his... What? It's like he shoved his paws up under my ribs and squeezed my lungs with the way I deflate. I hunch over like I usually do, shoving my paws in my pockets and trying not to be as noticeable as I slink past. Of course he spots me. "Oh, howdy, Sam." This fucking guy. "Howdy." I sigh, drawing back against the wall of the building that he came out of, so we're out of everyone's way. "Howdy." Cliff looks at me with an expectant smile. "What?" "Well, how did it sound?" "What?" "My howdy. I'm working to assimilate better. It's a shortening of how do you do, you know?" "Yeah, I guess. Never really thought about it." "Which is actually why you not noticing is the best compliment you can give. He did not stand out." I think back. Well, maybe it kind of did, but I don't think I was paying attention. "Good enough for me." And even though my instincts want to reject this little fellow for being so completely different from me, I kind of want to kick myself for being so down on him. He's not hurting anybody. Aside from himself, that is. If you're gonna hurt somebody, it might as well be yourself. I smirk at him. "Well, congratulations. You're now an echoer. You get a kick up the balls for being stuck here forever." "Are you implying that you're stuck here?" I shrug. "Kind of. I have nowhere else to go, no real money either. And I'm a suspected murderer." "Well, never living yourself in such a way. Look at me. I am a mixture of so many things that should never have turned up in a place like this, yet here I am." "Well, my advice to you is to get out while you can. They say that if you miss your train, it's gone for good." "Don't be silly, Sam. You can still take a carriage or walk if you don't have the means." "Which just moves you onto the shittier town that is Peyton." I need a train to get me out west, maybe further. Cliff's life of traveling suddenly doesn't sound like the worst. Even if he did land himself an echo, the poor chump. Is Batavia nice? "It is. In fact, being here has made me appreciate the more refined aspects of Batavia and Wensleydale. Not that I don't appreciate the rough nature of the untamed West, though honestly I find the cities here to be rather harsh as well." That's why William moved here from the big city, I think.
"Oh yes, I even heard stories back home of the brutal outfit that pull most of the strings in his city."
I always thought that after coming from over there, he'd just kind of stick up his nose at small-time crime here, but he takes everything seriously. It's real weird having an actual conversation with this weasel. Yeah, we might be different, but he's an easy guy to talk to. I guess talking a lot has its advantages.
Say, you're friends with the female Kit Fox at the saloon, correct?
Cynthia?
Yes, she's the one.
What about her? Last I remember, the weasel was trying to sneak away from her.
Well, she's a member of the Masada tribe, is she not?
Think so. She doesn't talk about it much. Gets real testy if you try.
I know. I was hoping that because you're friends, that you might be able to help me.
Just because we're friends doesn't mean she'll go along with anything I suggest she do. What do you want her to do anyway? I feel myself getting a little protective of Cynthia, wondering if maybe he wants to run his big school experiments on her or something.
Oh, nothing too strenuous. I simply would appreciate some direction as to where I should go.
That doesn't sound too terrible, I guess. Well, were you still wanting to make an appointment with me?
Oh, well, if you're interested, it didn't seem to be last night.
I was already booked. Just make an appointment with the madam that you'd like time in the smoke room.
Oh, I don't smoke.
It's code, I guess. It tells you that you want to see me without saying it out loud. You remember what happened when you did that last time?
Ah, understood.
Anyway, I could talk to Cynthia and maybe set something up between the two of you, alright?
Thank you, Sam.
Sure. Anyway, it's been nice talking to you, Cliff. See you around the saloon, then.
Indeed. You said almost as many words to me in the past 5 minutes as you have in a few days. I look forward to our appointment.
I wave at him before setting off down the street again. Cliff was a nice distraction while it lasted, but now I'm back to thinking on Nick. Probably less than an hour until noon, which means I gotta head over now if I'm gonna catch him. I start walking that way. I start getting a creeping feeling. One that's different from what I'd felt in my room, thank God. This is a familiar Echo song. Ugh. This feels more like someone real is watching me. I scratch the back of my neck trying to look like I'm not walking somewhere I'm unfamiliar with. In fact, I don't think I've walked this way since the day it happened. I come up on a small crowd that's packed in front of the press building. Oh, it's a tent now, because a month ago a group of men burned the place down after something was printed in the papers that they didn't like. Dirt around it was still blackish, color from the old ash. Now that I'm finally at a place where I might have a reason to stop, I face the tent, then look to my left, up the street where I came. Nothing out of the ordinary on the wide street, people here and there, going about their business. There's a wolf laying face down by another saloon, much smaller one than ours. But as I'm looking at him, I see something move by the side of the saloon, around the corner of the alley. I look up and I see for just the quickest second, a very familiar tail poking around the corner. I look hard, but it disappeared. Shift around in place, not sure what to do next. Tails can only be so many colors, but I'm damn certain I know that one. So I sort of press myself against the side of the tent, wishing there was something more solid to lean on, though I could look more casual. Just as I'm glaring at the way I keep getting bumped into by the crowd, I see something move again around the corner. Sure enough, a flash of a tawny eye and sharp ear color around it. I look up the street right away, pretending I didn't see the coyote spying on me. God damn it. If I'd wondered how suspicious William is of me, I'd just got my answer. This is the worst time, too. I need to get to Nick now, otherwise I'm gonna miss him and he's going in there alone. So I start to push my way through the crowd, getting a shove or two from the loud men as I squeeze by them. I automatically snarl and cuss at them like you're supposed to when another man disrespects you in this town, but I'm only thinking about William now. As soon as I'm past the tent, I take a quick left into a smaller road with hardly any buildings except a house or two. With no one around now, I speed up, jogging down the road before stopping in front of one of the few buildings around. More of a shack, really. Look behind me, and right as I do, I see William, framed right there between the tent and the building right next to it. My heart freezes, but he isn't looking at me. He's looking into the crowd of men, an angry glare on his face as he pushes a few of them aside. I'm numb as I just walk into the shack. Coming out of the bright coming out of the brightness from outside, I can hardly see anything except the glow of a small lantern in the corner. Stand there for a few seconds, feeling dazed, waiting for my eyes to adjust. I know people are in here. I can hear them. I can't smell them, because something else crowds my nostrils. All that comes to my mind is one of my old customers, one that I still remember because he was a panda, and because he smelled just like this. Incense. A frown, wondering, but Lee? I can never say his name right because my mouth just can't put the first and second part of Liu together. So when I said Liu, he laughed and said Lee was right, alright. Huh. But I realized right quick that this is not Lee once my eyes finally get used to the dark. Lee left anyway, at least I think he did. One of the dozens of customers that had just stopped showing up. In front of me now, though, was a long-eared thing, I think a hare. He's not Lee, but he's dressed oriental, like Lee would, Jesus. There he starts talking to me in that language that's way too fast for me to even get a hold on. Then he points at the door. Go! That I do understand. Shift around in place, just wanting to stay a minute or two more until William isn't out there anymore. Can I stand here for just a minute? I won't bother you. Sun's getting to me. To my right, a curtain that I thought was the wall whips back, and what looks like a weasel in black fur sticks his head out. He says something in the same language to the hare, then he turns to me. What are you doing here? Just passing through. Leave in a second. Move a little to my right so I can't be seen through the entrance. Weasel talks back and forth with the hare again, then turns back to me. Someone tell you about this place? I look at him, and at the same time he brings something up to his mouth. I focus on it because it's weird looking. I think it's a pipe. Just a really long one. Marijuana! I'm also thinking that it's not tobacco in there. Weasel takes a deep puff on it. Hare turns to him too and makes the backhanding motion that he'd done earlier with me. The weasel shouts back before the pipe disappears. I'm slowly understanding where I am. A real smoke room. And why the man is so mad at me. I turn to him, my paws up. I won't tell anyone. I'm my own business. I can promise you that. Just catching some shade while I can. I'm not gonna tell them the sheriff was following me. There's another back and forth between the two of them, and finally the hare just throws his paws up and walks over to a chair in the corner that he'd probably been sitting in before I burst in. Standing there real uncomfortable, enough that I'm ready to go back out even if it's only been a minute. The weasel keeps staring at me, taking a drag from the pipe every now and then. There's a weird look in his eye, like he's staring at something miles away over my head. Your fur is very white for a mountain lion. I bristle. Yeah? Your fur's real dark for a weasel. Sable. What? I'm Sable. Never heard of that. Most here haven't. Sigh deciding, I could probably go now. Would you like to try? It sends the sadness and pain away for a while. He holds up the shiny pipe, almost glittering from the light that comes in through the doorway. Watch him inhale again, then blow out light smoke in my direction, and I catch a whiff of something else just over the incense. Then I get a real good look at his hand, and I see most of his fingers missing. What the fuck? His pointer and thumb stick out in ways they shouldn't while the pipe balances between them. I start to move towards the door. You can get alcohol or morphine at the drugstore for that. I feel like I'm giving him advice, even though I know he doesn't need it. Maybe it's because I'm friends with the sheriff and I want people to follow the law, even though I don't. This is better for less money. That's important for men like me who can no longer work. Look at his hand again and he smiles. Caught in the machinery at the mines. Now I use my feet to pick up trash for pennies. The sable looks over at the hare who is hunched over looking like he's sewing something, and occasionally interpret for the men who can't speak the local language. I think whatever the guy is on, I know what it is, I just can't remember the name, is making him more talkative too. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting me stay. I'm feeling better now. I back up, then because I've seen the Oriental man do it, I bow. Jesus Christ. Sable nods and the hare snorts, but I'm already slipping out the door, glad to breathe in air that isn't so heavy. I look around. No William. I sigh with relief, feeling a kick of relief and even happiness in my chest. Would have been terrible to get caught in there. Not only for myself, but the men in there too. I look at my paws, happy that they worked, deciding to ask Nick about that man. Maybe that the badger needs to be more careful himself. I'm walking between the buildings toward the road to the mines, and I realize I'm not feeling normal. I'm happy. And there's this feeling like I'm floating a little. He's got a contact high. Most of the worry I'd had is gone. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Nick. I smirk, shaking my head, wondering how the hell I'm feeling this different when I didn't even touch the pipe. Maybe after this, I can go back and ask a bit more about it. Jesus Christ! I walk boldly through the sagebrush, only slowing my pace a little when I remember that I got to look out for and listen for rattlers. Before I know it, I'm next to the hillside where the mine is, and I stand there, paws on my hips as I stare up at the rocky slope with a grin. I scan the terrain until I see that outcropping of boulders. It's easy to recognize, their shapes haven't been burned into my mind. Still, I don't lose my smile as I start climbing up the hill on all fours. This fucking guy is high, going into a fucking mine. I am worried for this man. I'm out of sight of the town here, but I wonder if the miners saw me coming. Didn't even look at the main entrance. I know I need to be more careful, but I'm not exactly in my right mind right now. Coming anywhere near these parts of town is enough to make me look suspicious even before the murder. So I speed up my pace a little, practically prowling my way up the hillside until I'm next to the boulders. I look around for a place to sit, and I just crouch there, appreciating everything for the time being. Even let myself think about how good my future looks. I've wanted to get out of here since I got here, and now I sort of have to leave. Maybe, if things go right, I can ask Nick to go with me. I always hear they got more gold out there, even if the heyday is over. Nick might like that. As time passes in the queerest of ways, odd, I start to wonder if maybe I missed noon. But then, I actually laugh when it goes off. I wasn't too late not at all. I lean my head against the boulder, just waiting for Nick to come along. I really want to see him. I want to talk to him. Really want to talk to him and not let his need to look aloof bring the conversation up short. Maybe when we're walking through the mine. Glance up at the boulders and stare for a second as I see what I think are hands. Paws of a bunch of different creatures reaching out of the opening like a bouquet of flowers. I stare and blink. It doesn't go away. So I do the next thing I can, and that's just close my eyes again, enjoying the haze. Yeah, that's creepy, but I'd breathed in Oriental medicine for several minutes. Who knows what the hell it'd make you see. Hand reaching out of the fucking mine, I guess. Chuckle quietly to myself, wishing I could see the world this way all the time. Then I hear footsteps, and I perk up with excitement. And then I hear talking, so I keep crouched in case it's not Nick. And sure enough, I hear his voice rumble out, and it's finally when I stand up, only realizing the ghostly reaching paws are gone when I'm staring through where they used to be. Hey, Nick! You're a startled man.
Sam, what are you doing?
Well, after you went and left, I realized I didn't tell you a lot of things about the mines. What happened down there?
You mean about the crime?
I don't say anything because I can see that someone's rustling around behind Nick. I frown and stare, and Nick jumps aside, gesturing at whoever he brought along.
I wanted some assistance, so I brought Yao with me. He's very good at memorizing the mines, far better than I.
I frown deeper, the words I'd been wanting to say to Nick getting caught in my throat. How am I going to talk to Nick about what I saw with this guy around? Oh, hello, Tigerman.
Hello.
The fuck are you? Is that a to be continued? Yeah. Okay. So we got Tigerman here. Way disproportionate compared to Nick. God. All right. So there's the Nick. All right. The William update has been queued up, but that's not what we're here. We're gonna finish up the Nick update. What we got from that is some Tigerman, Yao. I don't remember who Yao is, if Yao is ever mentioned, but cool. We're basically trying to prevent Nick from getting moited. Whether or not that was a risk at all, I don't know, but we're high now, so that's fun. We'll see how that goes in the next update for Nick. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, and you're not. Thank you for watching. The Smoke Room and the Bye. 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 Bye.